in the USA. Today, my intention is to give you some of the snapshots and to challenge your belief systems about the types of lab tests that you are using at present and what you're finding useful in terms of support infrastructures with chelation and IV nutrition and therapy. First of all, let's look at some basic dogmas here. Virtually all human disease result from the interaction of genetic susceptibility factors and modifiable environmental factors, broadly defined to include infections, chemical, physical, nutritional and behavioural factors. So effectively, you often find patients sitting there receiving their drip, and some of them are so conscious of their environment they will not accept glucose. They may be looking for some NutraSweet from you. Now, glutathione is the first area that I want to talk about. And when we're talking about intravenous therapy, glutathione is one of the most underutilised antioxidant therapies. It is by far one of the best and most rapid results in terms of therapies can be seen by using intravenous glutathione therapies. Now, cysteine and glutathione, cysteine can function independently as an antioxidant or be combined with glutamic acid and glycine in the liver to form glutathione. The dietary supplement of supply of cysteine is a primary determinant of glutathione synthesis in the body, and supplements of cysteine can boost tissue levels of glutathione significantly. Does anybody know what other cofactor we need or nutrient we need in order to facilitate conversion of cysteine to glutathione? It's a mineral, selenium. Okay, so these two are the most important parameters. Often you find a lot of companies are selling glutathione as an oral supplement. In my years of experience in testing through the laboratory, I've done tests of glutathione levels pre-taking oral glutathione and post-taking glutathione orally. I did not find very good results using oral glutathione. It is a molecule that cannot easily be absorbed. The literature indicates that some of them that are sublingual seem to, if they've got a good delivery system, seem to work quite well. But others in the literature tend to indicate that the intravenous glutathione therapy is by far the way to go. I, for one, am taking glutathione intravenously every single week. And the key reason for that is that about 2 years ago, I did my genomic test, and I did the P53. This is a test we do which looks at the level of apoptosis. Okay? Apoptosis is the programmed cell death that's going on with cells, and if that is very high, it indicates that it's kicking in to try and stop the excessive cell death, programmed cell death that's going on. Now, generally, it correlates with cancer, okay? Correlates with extensive insulin resistance, and it correlates with cardiovascular disease. It also correlates with very poor endogenous antioxidant supply, okay? So when I did my levels and found that my P53 was about 10 times above the normal reference range, it destroyed my holiday. I was cruising around the Mediterranean with my wife on a long, on a well-deserved holiday. We was the first holiday we had after kids, because things do change when you've got kids. And I received these results by email. So after I came to a couple of days later, I did some more research and found that definitely it had to do something with oxidative damage. I did my oxidative damage markers and indeed found that they were very, very high. My endogenous glutathione production was very low. My genomic predisposition, my SNP, is homozygous, which indicated that I have a predisposition to produce lower levels of glutathione endogenously. My levels of P53 dropped down to within normal range within 2 weeks. Okay, that's how quickly you can see dramatic changes occurring Now, I would not have picked that up. And chances are, as we know, disease, whether it be cancer or atherosclerosis or any of the severe oxidative damage disease, does not happen overnight. It manifests over a period of time. Now, there are many functions for cysteine and glutathione, and I don't intend spending too much time going over them today, only because I've been given less than an hour to cover a topic that normally takes me a couple of hours to talk about. The key thing with glutathione is that cell breakdown is related to depletion of glutathione, and you find any of these challenges, whether it be infection, injuries and traumas and burns or radiation, toxins, pollutants, drugs, poor diets, can cause an impact on the cells, especially the cell walls, and therefore cause rupture and lysis and cell death, premature cell death. So this is what we call the apoptosis, or the death of the cell. So we now have a test called P53, which you can do from serum, and I also include with that the 8-hydroxydeguanosine test, which is an indicator of the level of oxidative damage that's occurring to your DNA. Okay? Sorry? 8-OHDG, 8-hydroxydeguanosine. The abbreviation is 8-OH, D for dog, G for girl. Okay? And the other test is P for Peter 53. P for Peter 53 indicates the level of apoptosis. That correlates with the level of apoptosis. And the 8-hydroxydeguanosine indicates the level of free radical damage that's occurring at DNA level. And this is where the interesting thing occurs. You work in the laboratory and you get brainwashed after a period of time. I, like most of you, and I guarantee you, most of you, if I asked you in this room, what do you do for antioxidant levels? You'll all put your hand up and say, oh, I measure vitamin levels, or I measure intracellular vitamin levels through various companies that specialize in doing microcellular levels and so on. Well, let me tell you, all my vitamin levels were through the roof. They were at the upper end and above because I was always taking lots of supplements. But does that mean that I have quenched my free radical damage? No. So a better way would be to look at the level of oxidative damage that's occurring in the body, rather than, which is an end product, rather than measuring an arbitrary figure, which some laboratories said this is the normal reference range for vitamin C, or this is the normal reference range for vitamin E. Okay? So ultimately, at different stages of your life and different stresses, you will require different levels of antioxidants. So a much better way of looking at the level of oxidative damage that's occurring is not through the level of antioxidants, but to look at the level of oxidative damage as a titration, as an end product. Here is the way that glutathione is produced, and as you can see, the importance of selenium. Okay, so it's oxidized or reduced, and with the laboratory tests we can show you both. But you can see why it's a universal antioxidant. You can see in the ways that it actually works, it's indeed a very, very important antioxidant, and indeed a very well utilized antioxidant universally. And cell functions linked to the reducing power of glutathione, as you can see, everything from cell growth and division to protein and DNA synthesis, liver conjugation and xenobiotics, etc., etc. And here are some of the overall glutathione metabolism pathways associated with the various integral steps of metabolizing glutathione. And of course, it also involves looking at the cysteine and glutathione through the methionine and the sulfation. And a lot of you would be familiar with the homocysteine part of this. So you can see the importance of the methylation pathways as well.